So anyway, really glad to be on the call with everybody. We'll do introductions real quick, and then we'll jump into this. So I'll just call your name out, just your name, where physically you're located, and who you're with, so we can kind of get a feel for geographic. So Abel, I'll start with you, and then we'll go around the video horn here.
Okay. Sorry, Tom. I was getting something ready. So my name's Abel. I've been working with the SICE and with the All Hazards Consortium going on 2 years now. I'm located in Hawaii, and it's very early right now.
Yeah, Abel is our design IT guru behind the scenes here. So I appreciate you getting up early, Abel. Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I've been looking forward to this.
Okay, Ira?
Sure, good afternoon. Ira Tannenbaum. I'm an assistant commissioner here in New York City Emergency Management and a All Hazards Consortium board member. So very excited to see this. And my focus is really on the private sector in general. So.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ira. Bud Mertz?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Bud Mertz. I am the Director of Public Safety for Westmoreland County here in southwestern Pennsylvania, as well as being a board member for the All Hazards Consortium, and one of those persons that has tried to leave in many times in the past and gets drugged back, but I'm glad I'm here.
Well, and Bud was responsible, for those of you that heard about the Endeavor work group. Bud was really instrumental in bringing that regional fleet work group model down to the Pennsylvania state model, which is called Endeavor. So he's had a lot of influence here. Sue-Ann Barrett. Sue-Ann.
Sue-Ann Barrett, Buffalo, New York. I work with People Incorporated. I'm the purchasing director for the agency.
Okay. And Sue-Ann has been very helpful in helping us shape this from the buyer side, which you could only know if you were in that world as she is, and several others, but I'm glad Sue-Ann is on the call. Always like to recognize people that have a big hand and a brush on the canvas. So thank you, Sue-Ann.
Thank you, Tom.
Scott Stefanich.
Stepanovich.
Stepanovich, okay, thank you. Now that I'm embarrassed, I'll remember Scott.
Oh, you're good. I'm Deputy Director of Westmoreland County's 911 and Public Safety.
Okay, good. Welcome, Scott. Stacy Neal from the beach.
That's only in my dreams. Stacy Neal, Planning Division Director for the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, and also the private sector lead for COVID-19. So have been obviously working with the PPE, getting PPE to the right folks in the right quantities and the right sizes, and helping the private sector find PPE as well.
Great, thanks, Stacy. Stacy's also part of our state liaison working group, which is chaired by Persia Payne-Hurley out of North Carolina and co-chaired by Beverly Byers from Florida, who's on today. They provide advisory and operational coordination during disasters. So thank you, Stacy, for joining us. Greg McShane.
Oh, hey, Tom. Hey, guys. Greg McShane. I'm with the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency within Homeland Security. I'm specifically in the Integrated Operations Division with strategy, policy, and resources. More on the technical and facility side. Thanks.
Okay, great. Greg's also been part of the dialogue here and shaping of this initiative as well. So thanks, Greg. Beverly Byers from Florida.
Hey, I'm Beverly Byers. I'm with the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity. So I lead our private sector function for our emergency response team, and I also lead our emergency management office for my agency.
Okay, thank you, Beverly. Jim Nowak.
Yes, Jim Nowak. I'm with ARCOS. I'm headquartered in Columbus, Ohio. I've been with the All Hazard Consortium Working Group Steering Committee since I think it was 2014, maybe 13, right around there, and been participating and trying to help where I can and learn.
Okay, thank you, Jim. And Laura's iPad, is that, I got a lot of Laura's, Laura Johnson, Laura Shepis.
Hey, Tom, it's Laura Shepis.
Okay, great.
And I'm with the Electricity Subsector Coordinating Council. So speaking on behalf of the subsector, a PPE exchange is something that we're delighted to see come to life. We provided a lot of use cases for it out of our COVID-19 experience, trying to get our linemen masks. So this is a great innovation. I'm excited to be able to participate today.
Laura has also helped shape this. Laura invited us to participate on several of the Tiger Team calls within the electric sector, which they've been holding really since, I guess, February, when they stood up how are we going to operate in a PPE environment. So a lot of what you're going to see today came from a number of sources. Let's just say the exchange that we've developed leverages a number of different partnerships to make it unique, extremely fast and reliable, and can scale to meet any need, really. We're looking at PPE today, but the way this is set up and built, it can take any data set we have and turn that into a exchange, right? In an active, you'll learn about an active method instead of a passive method, right? So anyway, let me jump into it. I'm not going to go through all these slides because we're going to create a training course in more depth. I just wanted to give you a little bit of the background, and then we can right into the portal. So starting in February, March, we were on a number of state calls, industry calls, trade association calls, and this need for PPE came up. This was not a thing we were looking to really get into, but we had several of our states and a number of our private sector companies say, is there some way we could leverage the SICE and its ability to vet people and organize information and keep it out of the public sphere and do things quicker and faster. So our policy has always been not to replicate anything. So we did a lot of research. We found 22 models in the US and Canada. Some of them were really granular PPE things you can buy to make PPE. That wasn't really the one. A lot of them were exchanges. The states, many states and cities had set up exchanges where you put up information from the supplier and the buyers would come and get it. That was great. That was a passive approach. But the states were I guess what we learned in Pennsylvania, the states couldn't really market it the way they wanted to market for a number of different reasons, legal and perception. There are a lot of issues with that. So we worked with Pennsylvania to take the best of what they had done. We worked with Virginia. Stacey Neal came up, who's on the fall today, came up with, Stacey, remember that form you sent out was really helpful to help us kind of look and visualize this. And then the last piece we were looking at in the private sector said, hey, Tom, we don't need a directory. We need an Uber kind of service. We had, in one company, had 13 people full-time dedicated to PPE research, right? Because it was craziness. And Mike Zappone actually told me that. He said, Tom, look, what we need to do is we need to create a mechanism here that we can take half of those people and put them onto other duties and let this exchange act like Uber, where it can very quickly match up a buyer and a seller and get out of the way and let them conduct business, just like Uber does. So we did. So most of the 22 models we saw were anything like this. So it was unique. Number one, it fulfilled an operational need. Number two, and it's something we could leverage existing partnerships and the SICE to help us do. So I'm giving you all that background so we can jump into it. Abel, I saw your text there. We're going to start with test, and then we'll open it up for real if somebody wants to do a real one, okay? Is that all right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So let me just jump ahead, and let's jump into the training session. So first, we're going to test your firewalls. So if you go to this website, ppenearme.org, we're just going to walk you all through the steps. But if you go to that page, it should look something like this. Okay? This is, I think, Abel, the third version, if I'm not mistaken, of this page. It can continue to be tweaked or modified as we need it.
Yep.
So everybody there? So this page is designed to answer all the questions that we got from buyers We have a buyer side and we have a supplier side. What is it? What's the cost? What's unique about it? How does it work? How do I pay for it if there's a charge? You know, so we basically organize this page. So what we want you to do now is go to the next step. If you click on the buttons, they all go to the same place. Okay? So when you click on the red button, you're going to come to an order page. Okay? So I don't want to get into the various offers. This is one offer. It's kind of a bundle of training. We're going to provide very in-depth training to both buyers and suppliers. We're going to provide a setup. Takes time to set up that account and put it securely in the SICE. And the third one is we're going to provide a bundle of tokens, right? So we'll create different offers for this, but what I'd like you to do is fill in the order page and use the fake credit card number at the top left corner of the page. It will not bill you. It will not bill us. It's a exercise. But this would be the look and feel of how people join the service.
Hey, Tom, so I need to enter my email address to get to that form. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start from that first page, and everyone needs to put in their email address so that they can get to the order page.
And Stacy, you got two options there. One, you can put in your government email, okay? Or you can put in a personal email. We've had issues with the government emails because of spam and firewall and things like that. But you can use either one because we also use a cell phone to send you a text of your password as part of two-factor authentication, and we don't have firewall issues. We've had some firewall issues because of cybersecurity. It's a fairly new URL, so that'll improve over time. Okay?
Okay.
So
I'm looking at everyone that's attending. Jim, I think it's Jim or James. Yeah, I have you in here twice. So if you're going to test this out, I want to make sure that you have a smooth experience. I'm going to delete your previous account.
I was just going to say,
okay?
yeah, go ahead and delete Jim's old accounts, and we'll have him do it new.
Okay.
Harsh, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Can you step back and give me the first two steps again so I can get back on?
Yep. Hang on a second. So you're going to go to PPE near me. That just cracks me up. I'm sorry. You'll hit this page, bud, and you press any red button, right? Any of the red buttons that are on that page. There's several. And then you'll come to the order page. Okay? So next up, as soon as you click create your account now, two things are going to happen. One, the system's going to send you an email with your password, or it'll send you a text with your password. They both happen at the same time. Okay?
Yeah.
And what that looks like is this. Here's a copy of the email that you're going to get. It's from the AHC PPE Exchange. And it looks like that. Or you get a text and it looks like that.
Sorry,
It'll
Tom,
give you-
what's
Does it matter?
the expiration information for that fake credit card?
Sorry, anything you want. A future date, obviously, but any month or date, and any 3 digits for your CVC number. And you have to check the box. I agree with the terms and conditions. We want to make sure everybody agrees with the disclaimers and the T's and C's on the if they want to download it. Okay? So the SICE uses Stripe, which is a global secure credit card payment processing piece. We do not store the credit card information, so we don't get any legal issues like that, and we support everything but PayPal. Not that we can't support PayPal, we just didn't think about it. Sue-Ann, is that a big deal? Did the people use PayPal as buyers?
They do,
Okay.
but I'm okay with you not doing it.
Okay.
That would, I mean, I don't think it's something that you necessarily want to completely exclude because there are some people that do.
Okay. So Ava, we can make a note. That's an easy fix. Okay, so once you you should end up on this page where you're going to create your account. Whoop. Go ahead, Abel.
if you guys go through that, you guys never actually get to that that account creation page. Once you guys get past that, you're going to get to a page that is the thank you page. That's your confirmation page. It's a big red button there that says log in. By now, you should have already have your your password and mailed to you, emailed to you, and text to you.
All right. I left.
So that-
Excuse
from
me.
there-
I left a page out. Thank you. I blew
Yeah.
by that one here. Stand by 1 minute.
So I'm at a page that says customize order. Should I be there?
Can you share your screen?
I can, yep. Oh, can you see? Do you see my,
No, not yet. Not yet.
Yep. Okay, so if you're there, go ahead and choose add 5 tokens.
okay.
Okay, so now if everyone's looking at it, see what her screen looks like. There's a big red button that says log in here. By now, she should have already received her text message and her email. Did you receive your text message yet?
I got a text message with a password.
There you go. So go ahead and click on log in here. Excellent. So go ahead and use the email that you used for the purchase, and now use your password.
Okay, so Abel, I made a note. I skipped one step. I'll update the slides now. Thank you.
I'm thinking my firewall doesn't like it.
The email or the website?
The email.
Okay, that's not uncommon, Sue Ann. We're having issues with Fed, some organizational, and some state. It's sporadic.
Okay.
It's sporadic. We can't figure it out. That's why we went to 2 factors, so you get both. It's probably going to have to, we'll probably have to send a text how to whitelist that domain. Just over time, as the domain becomes more used, it gets more safe, and firewalls let it come through.
Right.
Yeah, it looks
There you
like I'm having the same problem that came to my spam mail.
Yeah, so if you want to tag that, and you can say don't mark as spam, you can do that in your email server. Okay.
Now, mine's stuck in email jail.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes. All right, so Stacy, we're looking at Stacy's screen. There's her email. Okay, Stacy, so you're
Want
back.
me to go back to the email?
No, you're good. You logged in. The text message is the important part. That's what helps you get past the firewall email issues. So if you got the text message with your password, then you can use that to log in.
So let me pause. I want to make sure everybody gets to this page before we move forward. So everybody good? If you're not,
I did not get a text, and I did not get, I don't, but you can skip me because I've already seen most of it. So go ahead.
Okay.
Sue Ann, take note. We'll come back. Okay.
Yep.
Everybody, Greg, Bud, Beverly, Jim.
I'm still creating. I need the I had to switch computers because I was blocked on the one. So
Okay.
I need the credit card information.
Okay, it's up. You know where it is? It's up upper left corner. There's a 16-digit number, Bud, on the screen in the upper left corner to use. Okay. Ira, you good?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Jim, Greg, you guys are good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So, Bud, you'll get signed in, check your cell phone or email for that. So what you're looking at here, this will be improved constantly over time. What Sue Ann and some of the suppliers helped us do was in the upper left corner, you'll see counters. They wanted to know the life going on inside the framework, right? So we added that. We've simplified the interface. But this homepage can be customized to do anything. This can be alerts from cities or states. This could be training videos. This could be, hey, I want to know how many coins I have in my, cash box. we can make this page be anything. For today, we just kept it really simple. It's got a training video that's going to be replaced, but we wanted to at least go through the framework and make sure everybody got here before we go on. So, Abel, why don't we, Bud, you almost there?
Yes, go on.
Okay, so we're recording. I'll send you all the link. So, Abel, let's walk Stacy through the first order.
Okay, let's go ahead on the left-hand column. You have an option to put a new request. Let's go ahead and click on that. Okay, see how everything's filled in automatically. So that's all of your information that will be submitted, and you get to choose a category, right? So for you can only choose one category per request, and we did that on purpose to make sure that categories don't get that requests don't get mixed in with multiple categories in with one request, because then it gets really confusing for the vendors as well. So
Actually smart.
the
layout of this page was really designed by buyers like Sue Ann, and we probably had 20 to 25 suppliers, major manufacturers that make millions of these things, all the way down to somebody that got a grant from California that to save their business, they moved into the making gel, right? So we designed this with supplier and buyer for supplier buyer. You notice it's not really detailed. This is just to get the macro information together and connect you, the buyer, with the seller that has been trained. Don't respond. Do this if you have it. Do that. So it's really been very, very quick to keep it simple. So
I just have to say, first time looking at this, I wouldn't have even noticed the category selection box all the way on the right. I just assumed that was part of the, the information, my personal information, and I was trying to figure out what type of message I would type in, right? And my initial thought, honestly, was looking at this and saying, if I was at Uber, I'd have a choice of the 3 different types, Uber X, Uber Pool, or whatever. So you pointed out the category, which is exactly, but if it was me, I would just say, move that to the left on top of message as a new line.
Yeah.
okay,
It's a user perspective.
great point. No, this is why we want to do this training here. Thanks, Ira. Noted. Okay. Because that's really the only choice other than the text, that's the only choice option that you need. So, and then down here, Stacy, we're going to train, everybody will go through training. This is where we want to teach them the phrases, so we standardize over time, but we want as much detail as we can get. That's fine for now. And if you have a picture of something you have in mind, you can add a photograph off the web or whatever, right? Once you're done.
Yep.
Once you're done, you hit submit. And you're done.
Almost. Okay, so this is a really important step. So it's here that you get debited 1 token. All right, so every time you do your request, you're going to debit 1 token. Now, if you guys took some time when we were walking through the very first page, and when someone purchases and gets into this area, we are preloading them with 6 tokens. So at this time, you guys are going to debit 1 of your tokens. So go ahead and hit yes, submit it.
This, just for everybody's edification, this is a pay per use model. Sue Ann was really helpful in helping us understand how to structure this. Many sites have an annual fee. Many sites take a percentage of the deal from the supplier, not from you, but from the supplier. The suppliers didn't like that. Number one, they're working on small margins anyway. So working with suppliers and the buyers, we developed this kind of pay per click or pay per submittal. It ranges from like $120 down to, I think it's $75 based in quantity. And we can work out things like that at the end of the day for enterprise type use cases, unlimited or whatever. We're just testing the framework. So
sorry, another question.
Yeah.
Why did you mention you have to fill in something in for the message? It's a requirement, even if I'm comfortable saying I've requested N95 masks and my rough number, medical grade checked, ready for immediate shipment. But when I go to hit submit, it requires that I put something in the message box.
It does. It does. That's really just to make sure that the vendor needs to know that you're absolutely real on the other side. And we get this problem where people put something in there and then the vendors, they really require a little bit more detailed information. If you notice on that, when you're doing the request, we don't break it down into really the nitty gritty of the request. And when we try to do that, what happens is we just go down this rabbit hole of too many options.
Oh, no,
We really put it.
Sorry, I get it. I just think like I'm just trying. I would just try if it's not clear. It says I need ... Please be specific as possible. If I'm just a user, and I guess there will be a training, but it doesn't. I just told you what I need, and so what other specifics do you want? And so I don't know. Maybe there should be some explanation if that's the reason for having it there, then some explanation for what requirement.
Ira noted, Abel, part of the training here, and Sue Ann, I'm going to invite you for comment. Part of the training here was the suppliers wanted to validate Ira's real, and if Ira takes the time to text that, they feel more comfortable, they can trust Ira because they don't know Ira, right? Number one. Number two, to Ira's point, we want to make it really simple, and maybe there's some pull down things we can do that make it simple.
Maybe maybe like you said, a pull down, just any additional information required, no, your CAPTCHA and done.
And from the supplier side, Ira, several of them said, well, we buy PPE from 3 sources. From source A, they come 1,000 to a box. From source B, they come 2,000. There were different quantities. So again, this is what we're still figuring out.
No. I get it. I'm just saying and I know there's a training, so I'm sort of jumping into this. I'm just saying if I was sitting here, I click submit, and then tell me I need to fill out this field, but I can't figure out what additional information you need, why I need to fill out this field. I just go in this circle. All right. Let's go. Again, even if it's just to say, this is our version of CAPTCHA, we need to please specify something else.
Thank you.
I get it. I appreciate the need for it. I'm just wasn't clear as a user.
Okay, got it. So, Ann, you had a comment?
No, I was just saying if you could just type in something as simple as thank you, just to acknowledge that there's interaction.
So part of it, we can incorporate that into the training, which is great. This is exactly what we needed. We needed feedback, right?
Tom, think back to when my first AHC meeting, the hallway of vendors.
That's right. You were at that. Never mind.
Way back.
Okay.
The only thing I'd add, Tom, is sometimes there's a confusion between cases of and individual units. So it's crazy as that may sound, is like if you need latex gloves or whatever, some people just say I need like 14 boxes, but you have no idea how many are actually in a box.
Well,
so
and we learned about millimeter thickness. We learned about color. What the heck, color? It goes detailed. It's a rabbit hole. So, but I think that we do need to emphasize in the training, Ira's point. We need to tell the buyers, say, consider this. Put up drop-down menu. This is good info. We can definitely make it simple because we want people to understand when they see it, kind of how it works. Okay, so that's the first order, Stacy. So now you want to look at. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. So let me jump ahead here. All right. We talked about, Abel, can you go to the token? We talked about how to use your tokens. You see, Abel, why don't you walk through that with the wallet?
Okay, let's go ahead and click on the wallet. Okay. So as you can see, you guys, this gives you a little bit of history of your tokens that you used, right? When you first came in, you had 12 tokens. I'm sorry, you had 11 tokens, and now you just used one of them, and now you have 11 total. Now, if you come in here, you start buying your token bundles. You can buy 1 token at a time, or you can buy 5 tokens or 12 tokens. And those right here, guys, those are, if I'm not mistaken, these are live. So whenever you're ready, but everyone here, at least on this call, has been loaded up with tokens already.
So it's live on the fake credit card, right? So if somebody, you want to have them click on one of the, like the 5 token button or the 10, 12 token, will that work?
So go ahead and click on that.
So go ahead and click on, okay, perfect. Then hit add to wallet.
Yeah. And you're going to get that. So don't put don't put anything in here because that one is live.
Okay.
All right.
You want the fake one?
No. In other words, you don't need to run a payment here because that payment gateway is live.
I got it.
Right now, you guys, everyone has credits already loaded up into your account. If you guys walk through that first page and you use the fake credit card and you created your account, that right there creates your account in our app and it preloads the tokens for you.
Okay, so if we try
when you run out,
yeah,
there you go. If you want to run out and you get to a point where you have to reload your tokens, this is how you would reload your tokens.
I got you. So if we tried the fake card, it would not go through.
Correct.
So I can just hit the X, right, and close out?
Correct. Just you can click out of it. Correct.
Okay. So this is very simple. Those tokens are there. You use them when you need them. So far, the testing has been great. It's cost effective, and that's the model. I think it's the only one that we know of, at least the ones we researched. It's the only one that does this service, right? Okay. So now let's go to the next one. Is now how do we close a request?
Okay, so on the left-hand column, you have your request list. Let's go ahead and go to that request list. All right, so this is a view of all the requests that you currently have. And if you take a look at the columns there, see it says it's active. You still have that active. There are no replies to your request yet, and you have a request ID. Go ahead and click on View Request Details.
Okay. Abel, could you do a reply to that?
Yes, I'm about to make a reply to it. So right here, this just shows you a example of your request, right? This looks familiar. Now, if you click on there's a little tab right to the right of request details that says vendor replies. Okay, when you do have a vendor reply, you're going to see it here. I'm going to go ahead and reply to this request. Guys, give me 1 second while I reply to this. Yes.
Stacy, this would be a very simple inventory that you could sort by date, reference number, by item type category, right? Mask, gloves, whatever. The requests stay open for 3 days and then they automatically delete is what the suppliers wanted. You can delete them in an hour. I think Sue-Ann had to step away, but I think Sue-Ann, the first request you did that was live, you got, if I remember, like 3 or 4 replies in the first hour or so.
It was really quick. I was extremely impressed with how quick the replies came back. Sorry for stepping out real quick.
That's okay. But we've set this up for now that a request will automatically go dark after 3 days. Now we can change, that's totally programmable, but in this environment, after 3 days, that inventory probably is either moved or gone stale. So if there's issues with that, we just have to work through them. Abel, are you able to?
Tom, if someone puts in, right, so we're asking people to pay for the opportunity to put a request in front of suppliers.
Yes. Yeah.
And if no one, so I mean, I guess, and I know I'm late to the game here. I'm just trying, and I guess on the buyer side, there is a desire to pay for access to people who've been vetted, as opposed to just calling 800 numbers, everyone listed in the book.
Right.
But if someone doesn't get replies, do they get their money refunded, their request refunded?
That's a great quote. We haven't hit this one yet, Abel, or
Yeah,
Abel.
no, we haven't hit that one yet. What
This is a
the
good one.
test that we have run, everyone gets a reply pretty quick. So if you want to go ahead and refresh that page, let's see if we can get something. We were working on this part last night.
Ira, there's two thoughts to Ira. One is to give Ira the ability to extend that request. That's one option. And second is if it's closed without a reply, maybe we don't charge them the total. We'll come back and visit that. It's a great point, Ira, because they're paying for the request. They didn't get a request. Now what do we do? Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually,
So,
I mean, Tom, you know, you got to think that if someone puts a request in on Friday, 3 days is going to be Monday. I don't know about the rest of you, but Mondays for me are not very smooth. So I'm assuming that's the same on the supplier side. They're trying to play catch up. So 3 days, you might want to do 3 business days versus 3 calendar days.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I just made a note, Ira, we got to come back and address that one because in some cases the buyer may want to extend that because it's a massive order or whatever. Good point. Okay.
all right. So at this particular time, we were working on this last night. I'm sorry, guys. This part right here, when I'm right now a test vendor in this scenario, so I would reply, and you would see your replies right there. And you have your vendor contact information. Everything would show up right there. So right now I'm looking at this, and so I'm having a little glitch right there. But this is where you guys would find your replies from the vendors, right? They would all show up here. They would all continue to show up here. If you click back to the vendor request details. Now, Tom, I'm just going to jump ahead to when they actually close the request.
Yeah.
No, that's right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you guys have already made a connection with the vendor. You guys found the vendors that you have, and now you're ready to close your request. See where it says active voting, toggle that switch.
Yeah.
Now it's important here because once you hit close, you let all the vendors that have replied to you, you let them know that you've already closed that. That was feedback from them saying, we need to know not to continue to try to work your order or to, kick you out of queue, in other words. So that right there, once you close it, you can't reopen that. You have to add another request.
And one other piece too, Stacy, and everybody, if you have an order, when you pull up, let's say you have 3 replies to a request, you can open each one, pick the one you want, and you can click on their email and send them an email, or there's a phone number there, you can call them right away. The exchange does not get involved in exposing your information or any part of the transaction. It's simply sourcing. So you can call them, and when you've made connection with them, then you can close the order. That's where we came up with the automatic thing as well, which we'll come back and readdress. All right, so Abel, I just made a couple of notes here that we need to add like 6 or 8, test orders so people can see what that looks like. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
Tom. Another question. I apologize.
No. Fire away. Really, this is why we did it.
So the focus, I guess, really, I mean, as it is, right? It's a focus on a resource for businesses, the private sector, to less. I don't want to say less so for a municipality or the public sector, because I mean, I guess there are questions that I think folks on the public sector would have or want to specify for vendors, like are they MWBE? Are they are they already registered for New York City in the vendor management system? So I don't know how much opportunity there is on the vendor side to put down specifics so that folks could click to limit their replies to certain types of groups.
Yes, we.
Well, we did it. We addressed that we did address some of that, right? So when a vendor is registering his company into the app, he has to say that he or she needs to identify that they service the categories. So remember when you guys were doing your request and you had a category drop down? the vendor, when they're creating their accounts, they have to line up with those categories. That way, whenever you do send out a request, only the vendors who are lined up with those categories, that service those categories. Anything beyond that, no, we don't have more information on them. But at least we do know that your requests are being routed to vendors who do service that category.
So going deeper on that one, Ira, that's kind of phase 2. We started this dialogue with Pennsylvania, and oh my God, my head hurt looking at all of the pieces because of procurement regulation.
Mhm.
They have to. We totally got that right. So that's an opportunity, I think, in phase 2 where we can look at if you have a major city like New York City, or like, maybe that's something we can get 3 or 4 boxes. You need them to check or learn how to get on it. No problem. We're going to be the facilitator, right? So, but Pennsylvania hit it with it, and they actually had a page. We were going to put the link to that page where they could, if they're not a preferred supplier, they could be on the list. They could fill out an application. We just link them to that page. All good, because we want this to service both public and private.
Right.
We just knew coming out of the gate, it's easier to go private than public.
Oh no, yeah, no complaints.
Bring up a great point. I'd love if you'd be open. Maybe you and Abel and I can talk about what some of those links might be, or how somebody who's not on it could get on it, or whatever. So
Yeah, no, 100%.
The other thing, oh, sorry. The other thing that I was wondering about, and this may be another phase 2 opportunity, what happens, so are you asking for verification when suppliers register that they do have, when they say they have N95s, they actually are NIOSH approved and certified? And the other question would be around FDA approval and FDA EUA, the emergency use approval, because we all ran into an issue very early on. We had placed orders for KN95s, and then the FDA removed some of their emergency use authorizations for a large number of suppliers of KN95s. So is there a way that you guys can balance or vet, to, I guess, for lack of a better term?
Stacy, if you could give us the lists or the information, we can add a checkbox and a link to that information if we need to. Yeah. And Abel, I thought we went through part of this, right? We went through, there was a validation certificate for N95. There's a bunch of them.
We did discuss some of it at one point.
Yeah. So the big one was the medical grade with a certificate. That's as deep as we went, Stacy, right? But if you guys could help us with what those requirements are and a link to a page, that's as deep as we want to go. We don't want to get in the business of doing it for them, but if we can link them to the data, fantastic.
Okay, a lot of that is already on our survey for the offers of assistance.
Yeah.
We added it for test kits because
Okay.
early on there were so many vendors that were just bombarding us, saying, hey, we have test kits, can you use these? We finally had to come up with some requirements. Do you have FDA approval? If you do, we want to know, we want to link to the letter, and it's on the FDA's website. So that kind of stuff would be helpful.
We want to be respectful of the government processes for procurement. We got that. And if we can help take, in Pennsylvania, they already have a bunch of vendors on their state site that are not in the exchange. We can add them in minutes. They can come in and go through vetting very quickly. So we want to work with the cities and states. If you've got vendors already trusted, we want to get them into the national platform, because the only way you're going to overcome this issue is by expanding the logistics sourcing world. But you have to do it in a way that's vetting people, and the states have already vetted. I would probably say for our states and cities, anybody that's already on a procurement list for New York City, Pennsylvania, or Virginia would more than be vetted into this, right? I mean, that would be an easy one to say. So the last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to pause for feedback with our remaining minutes. We developed this engine to work for anything. So during the last storm, because I can't pronounce his name probably, Ices, whatever. Anyway, we had a request for commercial generators from several sources. We have a list and a map of national generator providers. What we didn't have was all the emails. So our process could go out and work with Google and other partners. We can acquire those emails, and now we have an exchange for commercial generators, or porta potties, or truck rental, or refrigerated spaces. It doesn't matter, but the engine here will do the same because it just works as an exchange. You put in a request, immediately within seconds, that email goes out to everybody that's in that exchange from an email standpoint. If they're not vetted, they have to go through vetting, then they can reply. If they're already vetted, they can reply. So that was the idea. The private sector wanted to have a framework they could use for anything, not just PPE, right? I remember, Sue-Ann, you mentioned that to us. What else you got, right? It was like, okay, we're at phase 3, 4, maybe, but anyway, that's the big picture today. So let me pause for feedback, and I want to be respectful of our time. So Stacy, I'll start with you. Just go around the horn. Any feedback, recommendations, or reaction response?
I think it's very simple, which I think is great. I do agree. Ira made a good suggestion with the category initially. If you could change the color of that field so that it jumps out to people and they know it's required to move forward, that's very helpful. It was very intuitive moving through it. The couple questions, the initial, when we logged in or created our account, I know we used that fake credit card, but it initially said $997. Is that the initial joining fee?
That's the first offer, right? We can create multiple offers. What we're trying to avoid is 2 problems. One, the private sector does not want a free model, because then every Tom, Dick, and Harry gets in there and chews up the bandwidth and requires support tickets when they haven't invested anything, okay? So, because remember, anytime somebody signs up for this, there's going to be support that has to be given. So they wanted to create a financial bar. Then we looked at different models. We want people to go through training. We don't want anyone in here that hasn't been through at least a 2-hour or 3-hour training, so they understand legal, policy, process, trust. They get acclimated. This is not a vendor fair, right? This is not a freebie for buyers to just test out, or competitors to pose as buyers to test out pricing, right? So that's the first bar offer we kind of put together, that bundled tokens and training, and we'll figure it out.
Okay. The next question I had, because and I thought about it when we were talking about maybe adding in the approved vendors for each state moving forward. But is there a cost for suppliers to join this?
No,
okay.
not at this time, no. There's a website. I can send you all the link. You can send it to all your vendors. They can, within 10 minutes, they can be on board.
Okay, that's great. That's really good.
Yeah. Stacy, that doesn't mean it won't stay free. Right now, we're doing a great service for the vendor community that pay a lot of money for this. We're not charging them right now, but down the road, I can promise you it won't all be on the backs of the buyers.
Okay.
Sue-Ann and I have talked about this quite a bit, and some of the suppliers, quite frankly, but right now there's no cost to join. There probably will never be a cost to join. There may be an added service we offer them that they can opt into later. We don't know what that is.
I think it looks great.
Okay. Very good. Sue-Ann.
I was just wondering, do you still have the home page that you originally showed me with the map of where everybody was?
Oh, yes, we do. It's not in here though. Abel.
Okay.
Abel, can you make? Yeah, that's part of the directory service. That's an interesting question. So go ahead.
I can get it. Is that what you guys want? You want me to pull it up?
Yeah, just pull it up so folks can see it. Sue-Ann, that would be an interesting link on this homepage, right?
Yeah, I thought it was all tied together. That's what I apologize. I thought it was.
No, once again, we're too close to the trees. So, yeah, Abel can pull that up. Very good. Anything else?
No, other than that, I agree with what Ira said about that field being a little bit buried in the general info. either making it bigger, brighter, or down below the general info to actually make it stand out. I'm telling you guys, when we did the requests, the responses came back so fast, I was completely in awe. You know, I like the fact that we can close out the request. I like the fact that, you know, you guys are so willing to look into making things better for everybody involved. I'm very excited to see it continue.
Awesome. Wonderful. Ira, feedback, comments? Great suggestions, by the way, Ira.
Thanks.
They are. Great.
I think it's great, and I'm going to have to rely on our private sector partners on the sourcing side to see that people are willing to pay $100 just for the opportunity to put a request in front of a vendor. I mean, again, I'm thinking, you know, hearing from our folks in the private sector, various size businesses, you know, I think it might be restricted to really large businesses for whom, you know, that's not a you know, a number that's challenging, right? For a small business, they might just tell someone to sit there and Google suppliers and call it for free, and reach out. So I don't know if there's an opportunity to say, you know, again, on the supplier side, if if you require the buyers to put up money in order to get into the system, so that the suppliers feel comfortable paying attention to the system, but that $100 gets incorporated into their order, that might be something that you know, that would make it a little bit easier for a buyer to be willing to put that out, but you know that that'll be, you know, once they make their order, that they'll save that money. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of from a user perspective, which again I don't pretend to understand at all.
Ira, that's a really interesting option. Again, we set the option to avoid all the free, the scammers, the, you know, all that stuff. But that would be an interesting option to look at. Credit the buyer's order for the token.
And that would be
Even a
the
portion
cost
of the token.
or a portion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, I'll tell you, when I was looking for PPE for People Inc., I was spending hours on the phone. I was spending hours Friday, Saturday, Sunday, late into the night. And if I would not have been salaried, it would have cost the agency a lot more money than it would have to get I mean, I'm telling you, the replies that came back, Ira, were head spinning.
Yeah.
And I think the other key thing, right now we are struggling to find certain sizes of PPE. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we can actually go in and specify, I need extra large gowns, extra large gowns, then that to some entities, whether they're public or private, it's worth the $100 right now. But I do think it's worth looking into maybe crediting a portion of that fee when they actually do make a purchase. Because Ira's right, there are some small businesses out there that can't really afford to pay $100 per request. But
let us look at it. It's a great idea. I love it. Let us look into that. Maybe that's something that the buyers could agree to. Maybe that's something the exchange could, we'll figure it out. I do think it's important, now you bring it up, that the small, medium-sized businesses, meaning, you know, under 25 employees, under 100 employees, you know, there's a big market there. Now, whether the suppliers want to fulfill small orders like that, I know a bunch of them would. Let us talk. I'm thinking Julio in Texas, Abel.
Yeah.
I mean, he might help us come up with a better way to do it, but I love the idea, Ira. Anything else?
No, I've had all my ideas for the day. I'm going to go home now.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Who'd I miss? Beverly? Any comments or recommendations? Okay. Greg McShane?
It looks great, Tom. I like the way it's coming along.
Okay. Very good. Scott?
I have nothing else to add. Sorry, I was just kind of observing this whole thing, taking it in. So
it's a lot. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I hope this was helpful. Buddy, you back with us?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hey, comment.
It's quite impressive. And I want to thank Ira for bringing all the suggestions that he's overwhelmed with in, because he added a lot to it.
Yeah, that's great. Very true. Okay, Abel, anything you want to add before we drop?
What I'm doing right now is I'm replying to all of the requests that you guys, I think there was 3 of them that you guys had run 3 requests right now. So if you guys ever do want to jump back in there and take a look at that, you'll see what the vendor you'll see what happens when the vendor replies. And let's see, other than that,
I got one thing for everybody to go back in. You don't need to go recreate your account. Okay, hang on, let me find the slide. Here's the URL up on the screen, if you can see it. Can you see that? Just go to ppe.siceusa.org. Okay, and you'll come to the login page. Okay, so you don't have to go back through the whole account creation process. Okay? So, everybody, thank you. Really, thank you so much. This has been it seems like we've been at this for a long time, but it's really only been, I guess, a couple months, but I counted a couple hundred people have provided their brush on the canvas here very quickly. So, very grateful for that. Let me share that. Okay, there we go. Now, can you see y'all see my screen? ppe.siceusa.org.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Well, that'll conclude the training. Thank you all for taking the time, and stay tuned. We'll get back to everybody. I will send you all an email with the link to the recording. You can go back and listen to it if you want. Nothing proprietary here, but anyway, you guys have a great week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everyone.